Hi guys, welcome back. And in this video, a little bit different, right? I'm a big fan of skiing myself, and as you've gone and seen by the actual YouTube title, if you could live in a proper tax haven and walk onto the ski slopes from a front door every single morning, where would that be? So I do get asked this occasionally, not too commonly, but in this video, I'm going to show you what I think is the best tax haven ski resort in the entire world, where you can ski all winter, pay low tax, and still have a structure that banks and tax authorities actually take you seriously, right? So I'm not talking about any illegal tax evasion or hiding money. I'm talking about living somewhere which legitimately allows you to pay low taxes with real substance and building a life in the mountains, while the rest of the world essentially sits in traffic in London or New York or whatever, right? So, and a quick intro as well, if you are new here. My name's Will. I spend my days building international structures, trusts, holding companies for entrepreneurs, investors, family offices even sometimes who work with law firms around the world. We are incredibly trusted as well with our wide stretch of partners. And, some people do say, is there a ski resort that we can live, tax efficiently in? And what is a tax haven ski resort, So let's define it, right? So low and clear personal tax. Not a loophole, just a jurisdiction where itself says, if you live here, structured property, your personal tax rate is X. Real livable ski infrastructure, so proper ski terrain, lifts, snowmaking, a town that actually functions all year round. I'm a huge fan of skiing myself. I've lived in various ski resorts around the world as well, in high tax jurisdictions, generally speaking, years ago. And we're also looking at a bankable, respectable, and a very realistic path to residency. So today, that topic is Andorra. So Andorra is a very small town in between Spain and France, and it's a tiny country, and it's in the Pyrenees. And most people know it for its cheap cigarettes or its duty-free shopping, but if you're a skier with an offshore brain, could be an incredibly interesting situation for you. And again, if you are interested in any relocation services, offshore company services, asset protection services, XYZ, then please do ahead and go into the links in the description. You can book a meeting with me, fill out a short questionnaire that we're just building on the website at the moment, where you can essentially be much more effective. We can make a good plan for you moving forward. So on the tax side, we're looking at cap gains at 10%. In most cases. No wealth tax, no inheritance tax. Corporate tax, also very competitive compared to the big EU states. So again, this isn't a pretend low tax. It's written into law. If you become a resident there, register properly and report correctly in your former country, you can legitimately reset your long-term tax position. So the lifestyle side, when we speak about the lifestyle side, you're not living in a random capital city, right, and driving hours to the slopes. As you might see living in Lugano, Geneva, Luxembourg, Vaduz, and Liechtenstein, for example. You're literally living actually in the ski domain. Places like Soledad, Altata, and some other locations as well, you can be living in. And it is a true actual ski area, which is over 200 kilometers off piste, off the top of my head. Modern lifts, and proper season. Now, when I was there myself, the food wasn't to my liking too much, but again, there are some fancy, nice restaurants, but, on a daily basis, the food wasn't what I expected being close to France, but we can expect that because it's quite a distance from Paris and south of France as well. So, for someone who loves the mountains, who wants real tax optimization, live on the slopes in a low tax country could be absolutely ideal, right? So itself, the villages sit about 1,800 meters, so pretty high up if that is a concern for you. But you've got a proper ski out options, which is just fantastic. And, is it as glamorous as, let's say, Courchevel, Saint-Moritz, Verbier, Les Arcs, Whistler? No, of course it's not, but it's accessible, less pretentious, and you're not paying Swiss or French or Canadian mega ski resort prices for every single thing that you buy there. And it is more of a perspective where you get a huge, you get various business owners there for obviously a very similar reason. And it is actually, I don't think it's in Schengen, so it is an interesting place. but obviously it's surrounded by the Schengen actual area. So there's two types of the residency routes. One is the active and one is the passive. So very different now. So active is when you move to Andorra and you actually run a business there. That usually means setting up, let's say, for example, a local company, being a shareholder, the director, and actually living in the country enough days a year to clearly be a resident. And then passive is if you're financially independent. So investing locally and you're not taking local employment, right? But basically that is, there are asset and income requirements, and this is basically a few €100,000 and above. It's not a digital nomad visa, for example. And you're expected to spend a meaningful chunk of time there, of course. And you cut ties in your tax, your previous tax residency properly, especially if you're coming from somewhere like the UK, Germany, France, Belgium, for example. But if you do all of that correctly, then yes, you can become an Andorran tax resident, ski a lot, and enjoy a personal tax position that's very hard to replicate in Europe. Now, how does it compare to Monaco or Switzerland? Completely different, right? Monaco has no personal income tax versus the 10% here. Switzerland has low-ish taxes, but basically you're paying, 20% plus. But is it the best tax haven ski resort in the world? Yes. That's why that is the title of this video. You can actually live in a ski resort. You can actually get low personal taxes as a normal successful person, not just a successful billionaire or someone crazy who's 30 million plus, right? And the system's actually relatively straightforward. And, if you're happy to spend most of your year in a small mountain terrain in nature, such as someone actually like myself, then this could be a fantastic place to actually go. But the practical actual next steps, you can have a chat with me, but go for full season, not just a week. And again, we can look at your current ties, examine your situation, see if it's feasible, see if it's actually a fit to you, giving you some consulting and advisory on that manner right there, and see how we can potentially work together moving forward. So that's my takeaway. I'm the best tax haven ski resort in the world. So I hope you enjoyed, guys. Bit of a different video, a bit more fun than usual, right? And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.